Well, Water Valley was named Water Valley because of the town creek and the great amount of spring water that rose in this valley. It's a natural thing, a geological thing, that the water is forced to the surface or near the surface here in this particular valley, in the valley of the town creek. And Water Valley was named in 1844 when Mr. Carr named it. He was the first postmaster. And the valley has always been plagued by floods. And had they known the flooding problem, I have an idea that the railroad shop would have gone to Coffle instead of Water Valley, as they almost did. There was a considerable flood here in 1902. There was another one in 1910. There was one in 13, 16, 19, 24. And they occurred about every 5 years. There was a serious flood in the valley. It got so bad that the stores downtown built walls behind the stores at the back door of most of the stores downtown that fronted onto the town creek as it went back over by the grammar school. Most of the stores had these flood walls at the back door. If you went in the back of a store, you had to step up about 18 inches or 2 feet to get in the store. We had several floods in the 30s that I can remember when the water went over number 7 highway south of town. And then I remember very well after the war, there was a flood in 48. There was a terrific flood in Tuckaloosa Bottom. A certain farmer down here south of town who was in the habit of letting everybody else pick their cotton while they had to pay $2.50 a hundred to get it picked. He'd wait till everybody got through picking, then he would lower the price and he'd get his pick for $2 a hundred. Well, that year, that old Charlie got his pick cheaper than he ever did before. So that November flood in 1948 picked every bit of it and hung it all the way from here to Yocney River, and it didn't cost him a penny. Then in July of 1955, we had the greatest fall of rain that I have ever seen here. We had 5 and 28 1/100 inches one afternoon on the 17th of July. And Main Street was flooded to a depth of 3 or 4 feet. And everything was washed out of the railroad park, and the stores were flooded. It was just a terrible afternoon. I remember seeing a lady walking up the sidewalk at opposite the Gulf Station down the south end of town, and the storm drain had been, the grating had been removed, washed out or something, and she walked right off into that storm drain and went completely out of sight. But as she went down, her purse went up, and it never got a drop of water in it. She came up spitting sticks and leaves and everything else, but her purse was still dry. I never will forget that. I guess if she'd have been sober, she'd have drowned. Right in the middle of all the flooding and confusion, somebody who didn't realize what the action of the water would be. Here we have people trying desperately to keep the water out of their stores, and somebody comes up Main Street with a tractor, and the water's about 3 or 3.5 feet deep, and it causes wave action against the stores, and that further created havoc in the store fronts, not the backs, but the fronts all up Main Street. I guess the next really great one was 2 weeks after the tornado in '84. Was a tremendous amount of water went down through town, and that's the night that several of us linked hands down by the Fred's Dollar Store on Duncan Street and saved a family of folks that were trying to leave the back of the cafe over there, and one of them washed away from us and almost drowned. It was a frightening night. I couldn't believe that much water in Water Valley.
The Corps of Engineers currently has a project underway to help control flooding in Water Valley. But will it be enough?
I think that the dam that has been completed up on Norwood's place will be a help, but there's still going to be floods. there's not enough impoundment, not near enough impoundment to prevent flooding. When you get a 5-inch rain, you're going to have floods. Main Street's going to be full of water again.